Happy Wednesday, everyone. Hope everyone's doing all right. It's good to see you. Good to see y'all's faces. It's been 7 whole days since I saw you all last. At least most of you all last. And we've endured the first week of school. And so before we get started, I just want to hear how everyone's doing, how their first week was, getting acclimated to this mostly virtual or remote scenario. How's everyone doing? How's everyone feeling?
It's pretty rough.
Good. If y'all don't want to speak, also state it in the chat box also.
I think it's pretty different. I think it's been pretty hard for me, but I also work from home. Mm-hmm. So being with my laptop all the time, it's different.
Yeah. No, I totally understand that. In fact, I have a consulting company during the day. So I'm on my computer all day, then I teach at night. And so pre-school year, I used to be able to work out at night in the evenings. And so I wasn't able to do that last week. And I'm definitely feeling some of the LBs on my waistline. So I need to figure out some way to not teach every night, or at least 4 nights out the week, and figure out a way to work out.
It's an everyday struggle for me.
Mm-hmm. I would say it's because of COVID, but it's been an everyday struggle for me for years.
I still haven't gotten my book. I was waiting on the bookstore to get the correct edition. Do I just go on, is it Cengage and get the digital book, or will the bookstore actually get the correct book in?
Carol, that's a great question. I would suggest you go to the website to get the digital copy. 1, it's less expensive. 2, but not by much. But 2, I've reached out to the bookstore multiple times, and we're still trying to work out the textbook situation. So what I'm going to do for the next couple of weeks.
I'm sorry, I was hoping.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I was saying I was hoping to get an actual print copy instead of looking at another online, book. But since you don't think they're going to come through with it, then that'll be fine. I'll get the digital copy.
So I think they'll come through with it, but I'm worried about the timing. And so I am not confident that we're going to get books in the near future. I've also learned that there were a lot of classes and courses that had incorrect books from the bookstore. So I'm not the only one. I'm one of a long list of professors who are not the happiest at this point. So what I'll do is my goal. By the end of this week, I'll send everyone an announcement on Canvas as to what we will do for our textbook. We do have enough curriculum on Canvas to operate a semester. I also have some supplemental materials, an older textbook that I have that's actually a digital copy. I know you don't like digital, but I'll find some PDFs of some case studies that we can read and then review in class, and then have assignments based on that if we're not able to get the textbook in the next week or so. All right?
Okay, thank you.
No problem. All right, let's get started. Thank you all for turning on your screens, your video screens. If you can, please turn on your screens so that we can have an interactive class. Today, can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Sweet. Thank you. Problem is, now I can't see my other things. Give me 2 seconds. This is weird.
I can only see you. I can't see your screen.
I just turned the screen share off because something's going on with this. All right. Here it is. Here we go. All right, now we're cooking. Today we're going to discuss general entrepreneurship. This is going to be the first official lecture of class. Last week we went over just introductions. I got to know a little bit about you all. You all were able to hear a little bit about myself. And so today I want us to explore generally what does entrepreneurship mean. And we're going to see a couple of videos. It's going to be an exciting time. I'm also going to have a brief group activity. It's the last portion of this hour. My goal is to be finished by 8 o'clock. But I do want to go over a couple of things before we move forward. Our agenda is we have housekeeping. We'll have our lecture. We'll have our group activity. And we'll have Q&A. This is my expectations that's on every PowerPoint slide. I will ask you to please ask questions. If you want to ask questions while I'm presenting, please ask in the chat box. I appreciate you all providing y'all's feedback on the in the chat feature. I totally agree. It's been an adjustment. It's been difficult. It's challenging, but some people also love it. So I appreciate you all's feedback. And my goal for the remaining 15 weeks is to ensure we have a good experience and that I teach you about general principles of entrepreneurship. I want us to think critically. I want us to also build on existing ideas and be open to criticism and have fun. Okay. Housekeeping. Couple things. One, as I invite someone else in, give me 2 seconds, because all of my screens are not jiving. Well, all right. This is also why it's really important for us to start to log in before 7 so that I won't interrupt our lesson. But what I want us to talk about housekeeping first. Typically, this slide is the slide before our lecture or before an interview, which I will typically interview entrepreneurs for this class, for this portion of the class. But I want to give all of our news, things of that nature here. The first topic you see is Canvas and CRED assignments. Some of you all have seen the CRED link of the assignment to do survey number 1, the pre-survey. Some of y'all have completed that. Thank you very much. If you've completed it, but you haven't received your 5-point extra credit grade, please, in Canvas, provide a snapshot of proof that you have completed it and attach it to your Canvas assignment. So when you attach that file of your JPEG or your PNG file that you've completed the survey, that's how I'll give you your credit of your 5 points there for completing the survey. You will have another survey that you will need to complete. It'll be right around Thanksgiving or so, but then you'll have an assignment, the actual CRED assignment, which we will discuss next week in further detail in class. That'll be due around the midterm time. Other Canvas assignments. I know this week you were assigned two specific assignments, the bug list and your entrepreneurship story. A bug list is, I would encourage you all to follow every assignment and to be open-minded and to dive deep into it. This class is an experiential learning format where you will have to do a lot of interviews, a lot of research outside of the book, outside of a traditional textbook, but it's definitely feasible. I've used this online format, this curriculum, for about 3 years now. This is my 3rd year, so I know it's effective. But I strongly encourage people to follow their assignments based on the week that I assign you all so that you won't fall behind. Also, some assignments may be more extensive than others. For example, this week is a fairly light load, relatively light, because all you have to do is make a list of 20 or so things that you're not fond of and make an assessment of that. Or you can just talk to us about your entrepreneurship story. But there will be other weeks where you'll have to read a book and make an assessment on whether it's a biography or things of that nature, or you have to conduct interviews. So please give yourself time to complete that throughout the week. All right? If you have any questions, y'all are doing a great job. You all are either emailing me or sending me a message via Canvas in my inbox. Continue to do that. My goal is to respond in 24 hours. If you email me on the weekend, my goal is to respond to you first thing on Monday. Does anyone have any questions? If you have a question, please feel free to place that in the Zoom box. All right. Good deal. Next, extra credit opportunities. There will be an event, October 29th and 30th. It's called the Texas Association of African American Chambers of Commerce. TAC is what the acronym is. And we're having a state conference that I'm actually hosting virtually. And I am providing extra credit opportunities for my students to attend those sessions. I believe I'll give you all certain points for each session that you will join. This is a 2-day event, and I will give you all more information in the coming weeks. I will also have other events or school events that I'll provide extra credit points. And extra credit points works differently. If you've had my leadership class, it's going to work a little differently in this entrepreneurship class, in that your goal is to make a perfect score. You must score 413 points. You must have 413 points. That includes all of your daily assignments, your chapter review, or your case studies. If the case studies are ineffective, then I will adjust those grades with different assignments, whether they be case studies or things that I'll assign you each week. Your midterm, your final presentations, all of those things will constitute 413 points. Your CRED assessment, the CRED surveys, both pre and post survey, they're 5 points each. They are outside of 413 points. So that's why it's extra credit. This conference or other events will be also outside of the points that are on your syllabus. Lastly, for housekeeping, I want us to discuss briefly on your group assignments. After class today, you will receive an email from me that'll give you all your group assignment number and your members. I am going to place about 5 people into each group, 4 or 5 individuals in each group, and you all will be responsible for creating a business plan amongst yourselves. Now, your midterm, this is going to be your midterm and your final presentation grades. So between next week and the middle of October, you all will work together to create your first draft of your business plan for your midterm. And then from your midterm to your final, you all will work on perfecting that business plan and creating a presentation so that you all can present to me virtually for your final exam. So I will give you instructions. I'll give you instructions for your assignments later on this evening or early tomorrow morning. You can contact me. This is a great question, Holly. You contact me through the UNT Dallas Outlook or through Canvas, through either one. I check both of those accounts daily. I would actually prefer you sending me a Canvas message because that allows me to store everything in one space. I can grade papers. I can research the types of questions that you're asking me. I can go straight to my account to figure that out. And it's on my iPad and my phone, just in case I'm not on my laptop. And I can pull that up. So great question. All right. So in your own words, I'll give you all 1 minute. This is about a 60-second activity. I want you to write in the chat box, in your own words, what is entrepreneurship? What is entrepreneurship? I'll give you all 60 seconds. In your own opinion. Some good responses. Being your own boss definitely is a facet. Making your own money, growing your own money, that's right. Being creative is a good aspect of entrepreneurship. Carolyn, I hope you're not driving. I hope you've parked since then. I hope you're not driving and texting me that response.
No, sir, I'm parked.
Okay, good deal. Good deal.
Waiting for my kid to get out of a class he's taking.
Gotcha. Good. I'm seeing the responses roll in. It's really good. Owning your own business and allowing it to grow. Yes. I think someone said, I think it scrolled up a little too far, but the actual action, actively creating your own business, is a very great word to have an action word to describe entrepreneurship, because some people think having a talent or having a hustle is the definition of being an entrepreneur. And though it's not incorrect, it's only one part of the solution. So it's great. Yes. Bianca, I think this was a great synopsis. Entrepreneurship is taking a risk and starting your own business, right? That's good. Kathy, you're absolutely right. Going into business and making money. I think everyone wants to make money. Unfortunately, 92% of people don't make money in the first 5 years. And so that dampens everyone's dreams, or at least 92% of people's dreams. Good. Great responses. Well, I'll give you my definition of what entrepreneurship is. Then I'll give you Mark Cuban's synopsis. And then after that, I will tell you, I'll tell you the textbook definition of what entrepreneurship is. To me, being an entrepreneur, an entrepreneurship is the action of creating a sustainable model where you can have a talent or a product or skill or service that you've created so that you can replicate it, meaning you can replicate the same thing or very similar thing multiple times to impact other people for a value that you receive. So you are creating a business, or you have a talent, or you have a product or service that you can repeat, you can scale it, and you can repeat it in hopes to get a profit. Now, the reason why I'm saying that specifically is because there are a lot of facets that are involved in being an entrepreneur. One is your heart. You have to truly be passionate about knowing something that's so good that you're good at it, so good that you are creating something that people aspire to have. Me, for example, I love drawings. I love painting. I would be a terrible entrepreneur as an artist because I can't draw. As much as I love drawing, no one will purchase my artwork. Maybe my mother. Maybe. That's a strong maybe. Because my artwork, or quote unquote artwork, provides no value to someone. However, if there is someone who is, let's say, Gordon Parks or Picasso who posthumously, because he's passed away, his art collection or work are invaluable because of the types of impacts he's made in that community, and the fact that other people value that work to where they'll put a dollar amount or millions of dollars into purchasing it. And so, and being an entrepreneur, entrepreneurship is having a talent, having a product, having a service, being able to scale it, and being able to provide that product or service in return, in exchange for money, so that you can make a profit, is the process of being an entrepreneur. And so this next slide I will show you is going to be Mark Cuban giving his 3 essential rules for entrepreneurs. Let me know if you all can see the video. Can you all see it?
I'm going to give you some quick and dirty rules that every entrepreneur needs to be aware of. Number one, sales cures all. There's never been a company in the history of companies that's ever succeeded without sales. Anybody who's ever told you, don't worry about sales, you can grow it and then worry about sales later, they're lying to you. They will fail, you will fail. You have to be able to sell. And you know who the biggest salesperson in your company has to be? You. Number two, selling is not convincing. Selling is helping. A lot of people, particularly if you don't have a sales background or this is your first time into sales, think it's like, oh, I'm selling ice to Eskimos, right? I'm doing something where I have to convince somebody to buy something they otherwise wouldn't buy. Wrong. That has nothing to do with anything. When you're selling, you're helping. So the whole concept of being a great salesperson is not about who can talk the fastest, even though I am talking kind of fast. It's not about who can talk the most nonsense. It's about taking the time to understand the needs of the person you're selling to. Because if you can't create a benefit for them, if you can't show them why your product is going to be better for them and their life than the other options out there or what they were doing before, you are not going to have a company. The third message is all entrepreneurs lie to themselves. We all go through the same process. We tell ourselves, this is the best. Everybody loves us. Everybody, no one's going to not like my product. Of course, that's not true. What I like to tell people is when you have a company, when you're an entrepreneur, you have to figure out how to kick your own ass before someone else does it for you. You have to look at your own company and be brutally honest with yourself and say, what do we do well? That's great. But also be honest and say, what do we not do well? Where are our challenges? And then how can we improve them?
Good deal. Does anyone see, can we see the definition of what entrepreneurship is? Can y'all see that? Perfect. Before we go into the definition, what were y'all's thoughts on Mark Cuban's assessment? I know he said it fairly quickly, so I'm not expecting you all to regurgitate all 3 points. But what were your thoughts? Would you please put it in the group chat? What were your thoughts on Mark Cuban's 3-minute presentation? Yes. You have to be brutally honest with yourself. The reason why I wanted to talk about having a passion that other people appreciate, that they will pay money for, is because most people think they have a skill, and that skill means they can be an entrepreneur. And that's not necessarily the case. You can have a skill, but if that skill is something that is, I don't want to call it useless, because it's useful to someone, it's useful to yourself. But when you're dealing with a market, and again, we're going to talk about supply, we're going to talk about demand. And this is for Chadwick Boseman, who just passed away. Shouts out to Black Panther. Rest in power. But whenever you have a supply and demand, when you have something that you can supply someone, you must have a market that wants it. So if you do not want to have, if you want to create your own business and it's something that's undesirable to other people, then you have not created a business. That's really good. I think he did nail it. Thank you for saying that. Mark Cuban is a very successful entrepreneur. He's worked very diligently at this since his teenage years. He sold his first company, big company, Broadcast.com, for $3 billion, I believe. Bought the Mavericks for $1 billion, and now he's made that franchise worth about $3 or $4 billion. So even though he's a fanatic, he's a Mavs fan for life. It's really a business model. Because when he bought low, relatively speaking. He bought it for $1 billion. But he is invested in that organization in the last 20 years to where it's valued at a higher or appreciated value than when he did when he purchased it around circa 1999, 2000. And so that is one of the main principles of being an entrepreneur. The main principle is having a business so that you can create a profit each day so that you can sustain yourself. Why do you need to have a profit? Because there are transactions that happens every day that cost, and you'll need to at least make the amount of money you need to at least make enough money to cover all of your daily costs, whether that's keeping the lights on, the water bill, employment, the rent, the transportation, the materials. All of those things have a cost each day. And entrepreneurs really are tasked to not only selling a product, but you also have to be the back office person and ensure that the business is working effectively. Being realistic, that's very crucial. You have to have a conversation with yourself to make sure, I'm not going to quote exactly what he said, but you have to ensure that you have realistic expectations. And a company has to sell. I do not like selling, but I have to sell my services. I have to let people know that I'm a consultant in professional services and economic development and public affairs purposefully, because the saying goes, closed mouths don't get fed. And so whenever you are going out, you need to let people know what you're doing, and it has to be in the right space of people who either have the money that can utilize your services, or they have a great demand for what you are offering. So all of those things we're going to talk about later on in other classes, but those are very principled characteristics of an entrepreneur. All right. This definition of entrepreneurship, as defined by dictionary.com, is the activity of setting up a business or businesses, taking on the financial risks in the hope for profit. Again, I want to focus on the word hope for profit. When you start your own business, a lot of people equate starting your own business with being your own boss, which is true. But most people have the wrong perception or the wrong idea of what a boss is. Some people think that a boss is just someone who orders people around, or who can dictate their time, or who are able to make decisions. Those are all very accurate. But the most responsible facet of being a boss is being the responsible person in the good times to ensure that your company will remain afloat when things are profitable, and at the same time handling and managing the organization during the bad times. A lot of people don't see the downside of being a boss. It's very difficult. Being a boss hurts. And sometimes when you're a boss, you don't get things that you think you are assumed you're supposed to get, like a paycheck. Some people, if you're working for a company or a corporation, you've signed a contract that they've agreed to pay you either once, twice, or 4 times a month on the work that you do. That's a contractual agreement that you have with that person. And if they don't pay you, you have grounds to either sue them, file for unemployment, any of those types of things. As an entrepreneur, you do not have that safety net. As an entrepreneur, if you are profitable and you're making money, that's great. But if you are out there, you're selling, but no one's buying, you are not going to make money. Also, if you've hired people underneath you, and let's say you don't have a contract with them, and you don't have money coming in, or let's say you have enough money to pay yourself. As a boss, it's your choice, it's your responsibility to pay the employees first before you pay yourself. Can anyone write in the chat box as to why that's important, to pay your employees first before paying yourself? Exactly, Holly. You have to keep the business flowing. And Melina, is it Melina? You have to keep your business going. Your employees are the lifeblood of your organization. If you, let's just say, instead of us being a class, I am CEO of a company and all of y'all are my employees. And then all of a sudden COVID hits in January, February, and all of a sudden, the second week of March, people, the country shuts down. Well, if we still work, if we're a company that's essential workers, we still need to keep operating. Well, one thing that's happened with businesses in Q2 was that they didn't see the profit that would be able to support hiring or paying the staff for Q3 and Q4 for the remaining part of the year. So a lot of businesses got in trouble and a lot of businesses shut down. In fact, the statistics show that 42% of African American or Black-owned businesses will never open its doors again because of this COVID outbreak. And so if you're not getting any money to come in, I'm still on the hook to pay you all through your contract. So let's say y'all signed an annual contract. As a company, I have to use reserves so that I can ensure that I pay you all. Because if I don't pay you, you all will have, all the case in the world to not show up for work and to sue me. If you don't show up for work, then theoretically, I am not able to produce anything so that I cannot make money. And so it's really important for entrepreneurs to know that facet of the business. Also, this quote, the entrepreneur always searches for change, responds to it, and exploits it as an opportunity. That's from one of the forefathers of modern day entrepreneurship, which is Drucker. And what that means is entrepreneurs are people who not only, they don't invent something, but they innovate something. You don't have to just invent. It's also really important for entrepreneurs to innovate. When you innovate, you are creating something, you're creating a new desire for people. The young folk will call it that new. When you have that something that's hot and that's fire, then people will stop buying the old thing, let's just say CD players or CDs, and they'll start buying their music virtually. I'll say loosely, buying their music virtually, right? And so that is a way an entrepreneur really sees the change in technology and responds to it, means creating a cloud format and then exploits it so that their business can succeed. Next, I want to let you listen to a professor from MIT to discuss two types of entrepreneurs, an SME entrepreneur and an IDE entrepreneur. Please take notes on this. And again, this presentation will be available to you on Canvas, where you will be able to hit the hyperlink to listen to it again.
Hi, my name is Bill Lett, and I'm going to talk about disciplined entrepreneurship, 24 steps to successfully launching. What I'm going to start with is what is entrepreneurship? This term is used all the time and bandied about. Everyone's for entrepreneurship. However, there's two fundamentally different types of entrepreneurship that I want to talk about. First of all, we have.
Sir, Professor.
Yes. Can you?
I think you might have the audio a little too low. I think I'm not the only one having problems right now with the audio.
No, thanks for letting me know.
Yeah.
Give me 2 seconds.
These are fundamentally small companies that will face, they may have been around for a while. They're focused on local market. They're often service businesses that are servicing a local opportunity, but they're not something that's looking to go global.
Is this a little bit better?
There's a need local.
Yeah.
So I'll start from the beginning again. And then I'll share it. more seconds. All right, let's do the scan.
Hi, my name is Bill Lett. I'm going to
Is
talk
this better?
about disciplined entrepreneurship, 24 steps to successfully launching a new venture. What I'm going to start with is what is entrepreneurship? Because this term is used all the time. It's bandied about. Everyone's for entrepreneurship. However, there's two fundamentally different types of entrepreneurship that I want to talk about. First of all, we have entrepreneurship. We have what we call SME entrepreneurship. SME stands for small, medium enterprise entrepreneurship. These are fundamentally small companies that will stay small, and they may have been around for a while. They're focused on local markets. They're often service businesses that are servicing a local opportunity, but they're not something that's looking to go global. They know there's a need local. They want to address that. This could be a dry cleaner. This could be a nail salon. This could be a restaurant or pizza parlor, as we referenced in the paper that Fiona Murray and I wrote. These are fundamentally important companies to an economy in a region because they serve a need. But relative to the way they're made up is the system that they create is one that shows kind of linear growth, and then at some point it usually taps out of the market. Now, this is an approximation of what goes on, but that's what it usually looks like, linear growth. But you notice that if this is cash flow here from the business, that there's not a tremendous amount of cash flow out. Again, a simplification. However, when we go to IBEs over here, which I will call innovation-driven entrepreneurship, or innovation-driven enterprise entrepreneurship, we have a fundamentally different business. This one is looking for global markets or super regional markets to serve. And while this one is usually the owner is usually maintaining control of it. This one is going to require more cash because the dynamics of this business it loses money, and then it's going to start showing exponential growth. So there's this negative cash flow here. This is cash flow on the y-axis, and this is time along the x-axis. It'll initially have to require some capital be put into it. But then if it works, it will take off because it's got basically unlimited markets. Underlying what they're doing here is an innovation that's unique that allows them to address much broader markets. So they're not just focused on the local market, but much broader markets. This is very important. If this is going to require more cash, as I mentioned, while this is owned by this is controlled by the family or the owner, this over here is going to have shareholders and a bunch of other people. This is a very important difference here because while this business is a very important business, the underlying demographics for the underlying system and training for this does not look the same as this. It's almost like you have two sports, basketball and baseball. Sure, you run in both, you jump in both, but and that's true of these, but Michael Jordan was a great basketball player. He turned out not to be a great baseball player. All his training was for that. So likewise, there could be some crossover here, but generally there's more risk in these. The people that are trained for these are doing, how to manage multiple stakeholders, how to do an underlying innovation. The next section, we're going to look at what is innovation and define that more precisely. But the point of this is two types of entrepreneurship: small, medium enterprise entrepreneurship,
And you
small
talk too
companies
much.
distributed geographically, and then innovation-driven enterprise entrepreneurship, companies that might not make.
All right. Sorry about that. So in that case, in that video, he described two types of entrepreneurs. One is the small and medium entrepreneur, and then the second one is the innovation-driven enterprise entrepreneur. Now, this is when I wish I had a whiteboard so that I can be in class and draw you the differences. But I want to talk a little bit about the differences between both, and then we'll move on. One, an SME or a small medium enterprise or entrepreneur doesn't necessarily mean that they're tiny, meaning that they're one or two owners or operators. But what it means is the type of business or products that they serve, they have. An example that they gave is a mom and pop store, which typically is we call this a lifelong business, a lifelong entrepreneur. These are businesses that may have been in the family for generations. They're not on yachts or anything like that, but they're making enough money to provide a comfortable living for the owners of the business. They're providing a service in the community, like a dry cleaners, things of that nature. And this is a non-franchised or not a huge franchisee entity. They may have 1, 2, maybe 3 locations. The first graph that they described, the little cash flow graph chart that he was drawing, shows how the ramp up for the business is for a small or medium-sized enterprise. And that is, as you increase, as people buy more, purchase more of your products, then there's a direct correlation. Then it flattens out as it gets to a peak in terms of your profitability, mainly because you do not set the market, the price for whatever the product is. So it's really difficult to go to a dry cleaning store and to pay $1,000 for dry cleaning, right? Typically, dry cleaners are around the same ballpark. Another example of this type of business could be a mom and pop restaurant. Could be something, my family owns a Jamaican restaurant called the Island Spot. And so they are actually transitioning from an SME to an IDE because when it was started in 2009, 2010, it was only one location. And that one location, we used our money, we may have used the bank's money, but we did not go into debt we didn't go into deep debt in order to start our first restaurant. But now, 11 years later, we're in the process of expanding to 5 separate restaurants, and we're going to ask for a couple $1 million before we even get started, just to have construction. And so that changes our definition from a small to medium enterprise to an IDE. IDE is innovation-driven enterprise, and those are more global brands. Those are more franchise brands. Pretty much, our vision is to have this restaurant go global and just to have great food at a great price. And so those types of things kind of shows the difference between a small and medium-sized enterprise and the IDE, innovation-driven enterprise. And one thing that we have to do that's going to allow us to change that is to incur a lot of debt. We're going to borrow a lot of money. So for the next 3 years, we can build buildings and create menus and things of that nature in the hopes that in 3 years we'll become profitable. That is a main differentiator between an IDE and an SME. Whereas an SME, let's just say you have a product and you create, you can quilt or you can design arts and crafts. Well, as soon as you create something, you use your time, but once you've created it, you can sell it for a profit. Use that money to buy more materials to make another thing, sell that again, and it's a gradual, it's a direct correlation. It's an SME. It's an SME enterprise. But if we're the Gap, or if we are Lord and Taylor, I don't think Lord and Taylor exists anymore. If we're Nordstrom's or Neiman Marcus or any of these retail stores that are threatened to go out of business, they use a lot of capital up front so that they can build infrastructures in the hopes that down the line people will buy their product, and then they can make a lot of money on the back end. Does that make sense? Can you all give me an explanation point in the chat box if you all understand that, or a question mark if you need me to explain it a little further? Okay, I see explanation points. Okay. I don't want to beat this too much, but I want, it's very important to know these principles, these first two sessions, because you all are going to build y'all's own business. And so, well, y'all want to build a theoretical business. And so whenever you all do that, I want you all to understand the difference between an SME and an IDE. Next, very quickly, for the next couple slides, I want to talk to you a little a difference about entrepreneurs and small business owners. Sometimes they are one and the same, but there are some differentiating factors that most people who aren't in business don't really know. And I want to open the curtain up a bit and let you all know the difference between the two. One, I view entrepreneurs as chefs. The reason why I love chefs is because a chef is an artist. He or she creates foods from their heart, and they create something that is so innovative that people are like, oh, wow, I have to go here just to get this random thing at Wolfgang Puck because I saw this on TV and it's only going to be at this restaurant for 3 months and I want to be able to taste it. Well, a small business owner, I view as being a cook. So once a chef creates this dish from his or her mind, they must create a system so that they can scale and repeat that day in and day out. And so when you then, the chefs then hire several cooks to be able to replicate what they created, so that if 20 people order this one food at the same time, those 3 or 4 cooks can create those products much quicker than one person creating it every time, right? So an entrepreneur is someone who's more creative. They're innovative in that space. And a small business owner is someone who normally sees the blueprint from the entrepreneur, and then they utilize that so that they can make money. A great example of that are franchise owners. Whether you're a franchise owner of a Chick-fil-A or a Subway, or if you're a franchise owner of a insurance company or a tax services business or any type of restaurant or anything of that nature, that entrepreneur or the creators of that business will give you all a blueprint of what exactly you need to do, from what time you need to turn on the lights and unlock the doors, to how you store all of the food, to meal prep, to cooking it, to Chick-fil-A's example of how do you talk to customers, to how you clean your facilities, how your drive-through works. All of those things franchisee receives from the owner or from the people franchisor, so that they can read this formula and execute it. Why is this important? Because the entrepreneur have proven that this product works. So all you have to do is buy into this product, pay $50,000, $100,000 for the knowledge, and I'll give you the book or the formula to be able to be successful, right? An entrepreneur creates the ideas of the processes. I just described that. But they also incur the risk to complete the venture, right? There's less of a safety net. Some people who decide to go and work full-time and quit their part-time, they quit their job, that they get a check once, twice, or 4 times a month. they are risking their livelihood. And so entrepreneurs I am one of them. Entrepreneurs are very, they think outside the box, sometimes to the potential detriment of our family. And the good thing about being an entrepreneur is that you create your own internal structure and organizational structure. All right, small business owner, you implement the processes that entrepreneurs create. Those processes are guidelines for how you become successful. A good example is Williams Chicken. We may have Tim Williams as a speaker, either this class or my other entrepreneurship class. Williams Chicken is based here in Dallas. They currently own 20 individual stores, but they franchise out 20 other stores. Most people say, oh, it's just a chicken shack. Well, each one of those chicken shacks make about $2 to $3 million a year. And if you're an owner of 20 of those stores, you're making pretty good money. So what Tim Williams, who is the CFO of that organization, does, his sole responsibility is to write the book, the playbook for how each Williams Chicken operates, and inspect those restaurants to make sure that they're doing it right, to have a consistent brand of chicken that's produced. All right. Are there any questions? No? Good deal. There are pros and cons to entrepreneurship. One pro is that you are the master of your own fate. If you want to sleep in until 10 a.m. And work until 2 a.m. That night, you can do that. That was my entrepreneurial journey in my 20s. In my 20s, I am not an early bird. I didn't wake up for early classes in college. When I made the decision to not to work for anyone and to start my own business, one of the main reasons why I did that is because I understand that I'm not a morning person. And then I am willing to work late at night if it's something I'm passionate about. And that worked out for me. As I grew older and I started getting different clients and started having different personalities that I was interacting with, I started working earlier. So now my workday starts at 7:30 instead of 10. It ends at 10 or 11 instead of 2 a.m. now. A lot of that is because of my wife saying I need to stop working. But a lot of that is also based on me being the master of my business, that I can dictate those terms. That comes out of cost though. If you don't put in enough work and you don't produce it, and if you don't produce something that your clients like or appreciates, then that can affect your business. Another pro is that job creation for you, my friends, my family, and my community. The good thing about being an entrepreneur is that you don't have as many regulations of workforce than other established organizations or people that have to report to other people. I like that because I hire my friends, I hire my family. There are a couple of my family members who I've hired who had criminal records, and it's nonviolent, but even the fact that something happened in their past affected their livelihood, right? And so I knew the character of this person. I knew their skill set. These are very important things. And I knew that he was committed to working with me and working for me. So I gave him a job, and he's able to support his family at a different pay grade than if he had to go to a job that he is grossly overqualified for, but because of situations in his past, he's not able to get the job that he equitably, quote unquote, deserves. There's time flexibility. We've talked about that a little bit. And you create your own culture. One thing that I love is I love casual Fridays. So one of the things when we started our tutoring company, and then our tutoring company we started hiring more people. I remember the turning point. It was 2007, 2006. It was November, December 2006. We hired 15 people, and I was doing payroll for 15 people, December of 2006. January of 2017, I hired 65 people. So that means I went from staff of 15 to a staff of 80. And so when that happened, there were some adjustments we had to make. One thing, I had to create rules for people. I had to then say, okay, everyone can't come in at 10. Somebody's coming in at 8. I'm still coming in at 10. But other people are coming in at 8. Or on Fridays, since we work so hard Monday through Thursdays, we have casual Fridays. You can wear your Chuck Taylors, your Air Jordans, which those are my two favorite shoes. Because we're just going to be in the office, we're just going to do meetings and things of that nature. I helped create that culture because I was an entrepreneur. A con to this, the negative facets of entrepreneurship is you risk your professional life a bit more. Whenever you're an entrepreneur and you are, let's just say you worked for yourself from age 22 to 32, and you've never worked a job or a corporate job, and you've never moved up in a corporate job, you've never been promoted, and you've never gotten skills, or your job has never taken you to trainings so you can get certifications and stuff like that. Well, if you started your own business and for 10 years you did great, but you decided you wanted to go into corporate America, or you wanted to go into the real world, quote unquote, then the people who are seeking your employment, who are seeking to have you work for them, will not view your 10 years as an entrepreneur as productive as someone who, let's just say, have worked for a large corporation and have gone through several steps and certifications to where you have a decorated resume, right? That's a risk you pay. You have to pay when you're an entrepreneur. Another issue is that being an entrepreneur is highly volatile, right? Volatility is key in terms of understanding your place as an entrepreneur. There are some months where you're going to make $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. There are a lot of months where you're not going to make anything. You won't make a dime, and you have to learn how to manage that. The burden is on the owner for the most part. So if something happens within an organization, everyone's going to say, well, what does the boss have to say about this? And what are they going to do? That's just the responsibility of an entrepreneur, especially when you start hiring other individuals. And then the last thing, the larger companies or entities will eventually become hostile competitors. What do I mean by hostile competitors? There's a thing called hostile takeovers, where if you create a young LLC or a young corporation, then you're growing and you become public, there's a way, let's just say I'm an electronics company and I've created something that just got to market. It's been really successful for the last 5 years. And I make my company public. It's great. I started making more money than I've ever imagined before. But what happens is, because I've gone public, I've now allowed citizens or business people to become part owners of my business. And so a hostile takeover is when a group of people own or acquire a majority of shares of your business so that they can tell you what you can do, even though they're not a part of the day-to-day operations or it's not their business. Because you've gone public and they've bought shares, they now have a say in what decision needs to be made. And that could be catastrophic. Characteristics of entrepreneurs: there's typically passion and motivation behind each one. They're not afraid to take risks. They really believe in themselves, and they believe hard work and discipline, dedication. I argue that it is more difficult to be an entrepreneur than just to have a job. I think you have to have more discipline. You take on more risks, but the reward's better, in my opinion. Entrepreneurs are adaptable and flexible, and you then gain product and market knowledge specifically to your craft. And once you're doing that day in and day out, you will eventually become a professional and an expert at that. And when you become an expert at said profession, then you can create another business opportunity as a consultant, being able to advise other people or other newer people in that space. You must have strong money management. You have to have effective planning skills. You have to have the right connections. Some people say it's not what you know, it's not who you know, it's what you know. I honestly think it's both. I think you need to know something. You need to know a lot of things. It's a threshold that you must cross in order to be an effective business person. But at the same time, you need to know who are the individuals who can either catalyze or you can be a catalyst for your sales, or can put you in positions to allow you to be profitable. You also need to know when to get out. Sometimes some people, we talked about SMEs, are typically lifelong businesses or family-owned businesses. Well, some people just want to own a business for 5 years. Some people just want to own a business for 10 years. One of my businesses, I owned 7 self-serve restaurants called Orange Leaf. It was a franchise. And so I bought 7 of those. I was a part of a group that bought 7 of them. And I only wanted to be in it for 5 years. So from 2012 to 2017, I owned and managed. I didn't operate it. We hired an operator. But we managed 7 restaurants, 1 in Austin, 2 in Louisiana, 2 in Miami, 2 in Cincinnati, for 5 years. And then in 2017, we made a sale. I sold my portion of it. And it's that. But I had that plan at the very beginning. I never wanted this to be a business that I stayed in for the rest of my life. I wanted to get in, learn it, make some money, and then sell it. The last thing is you have to have the ability to question yourself, but not too much. Mark Cuban said you have to have a hard conversation with yourself, but if you doubt yourself too much, then you won't be able to do anything. Good deal. Good question, Bianca. Why wouldn't I want to stay in it? One is because I'm passionate about other things, and I was not intended on the reason. Some people start businesses because of the passion. Others start, like in this position, I wasn't passionate about the franchise place, but my business partner was. And so I pretty much was an investor of his dream. Now, he put in his own money. He put in more money. He actually bought 12 stores, and I only was part of 7 of the 12. So he had 5 stores that he owned outright individually. I said, I'm not doing all that. I'll put in on 7, right? So, yeah, that's particularly why I didn't want. And so he stayed in longer, actually. He just sold his stuff about a year ago. The reason why he sold it was personal issues. So that's hopefully that answers your question. All right, sweet. All right, now we're going to have a group activity. And what I want to do is I want to first talk to you about what the activity is, and then I will separate you all into rooms and 4 or 5 individuals where you all can go through this activity. And then we'll come back after it's 8:06 now. We'll come back at 8:15 for each group to report verbally what they thought of about creating their own business very quickly. And we'll conclude our class. All right. So this is the activity. I want you all to get in groups of 3 or 4, and then I'll assign your breakout rooms. And this is going to be a random order, by the way. And I want you all to assign a representative. And I want you all to create a business using this following format. If y'all have to make a snap, if y'all have to snapshot this page, please do so. But I want you to address these 4 things. These 4 things. 1, what is your business? What will your business, what service will it provide? Secondly, how will your business make money? Thirdly, how would your business operate? And what I mean by how will it operate, I'm really just talking about who's going to do what. So someone may be head of sales. Another person will be head of operation in your group. Another person is going to be the general manager of the group. The other person will be the IT person. Just make that germane to whatever business you create. And then I want you to brainstorm who would be your competitors. What are some examples of competitors of a business that you create? And I'm going to give you all 10 minutes, like I said. I'll give you all 7 minutes. It's not going to be too long of an activity, but let me break you all up now. Breakout rooms. We have 22 people here, so I'll break it into 5 rooms. And I'm about to create your breakout rooms now, okay? All right. This is good. I like this. All right. I'm opening up the rooms now. I'm going to see if I can do some options. Let's see. All right. Okay, I have added you all into rooms. See if I can. Are y'all able to move into your breakout rooms yet or no? Let's see. There you go. Marcelo?
Okay, and you said 7 minutes, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Online.
Ready for me to go?
Yes.
Okay, so our business was baby clothing, well, baby clothes and essentials. How will the business make money? We're going to sell our clothing online and, of course, advertise through social media. How would the business operate? We really didn't get to that per se, but our competitors would be Carter's, Oshkosh, Bye Bye Baby, Target, and Walmart.
Good. Great job. Thank you, Carolyn.
Yep. Can group 4 go next?
Holly, you got it.
All right. So we had to kind of hurry up a little bit. So we decided to do selling masks, since that is a priority right now. That's a need that needs to be fulfilled. How we're going to make money? We're going to sell through eBay, through Amazon, and then also we're going to advertise through all social media platforms, as well as like on YouTube and Google as well. And then let's see. And so who are our competitors? All major retailers will be Home Depot, Target, Walmart. And I think that's all the questions.
Good deal. Thank you. Group 4.
Group 1, can we go next?
Yes, you can.
Awesome. So our brand or our product was going to be athleisure. So it's athletic leisure attire. We were going to, let me see here. We were going to make money by selling the product, and we were going to operate both online and have storefronts as well. And some of our competitors were going to be Lululemon, Nike, and Adidas.
Okay, good. Thanks, Marcelo. And what group number were you again?
Group number 1.
Okay, so 1, 4. What was the first group? Carolyn,
2.
you was the group 2. Okay. All right, is group 3 ready? We'll break out room 3.
Is that, I think I was part of group 3. I'm not sure. I didn't really check the number. I'll assume I have. So.
It's all good. Go ahead and get started.
So we ended up deciding on doing a fast food restaurant, specifically a Mexican fast food restaurant. So therefore it'd be like Mexican food and stuff. You know, you don't really see much Mexican food as fast food. It's usually always like a dine-in type of place. And so we'd provide that type of service, food. It'd be food industry. We'd make money and trying to demolish basically the food industry, basically. We are the way I feel like our business would operate, I feel like we try to make our name as big as possible. We try to also our competitors, the next to our competitors to get our name around. So if say a McDonald's across the street, we're going to be either right beside them or in front of them, so people see us whenever their lines are full. So and as I said, our competitors are going to be like McDonald's, other fast food places. Yes, sir.
Good deal. Thanks, Jose. Or Joe. This is Joe?
Jose.
Jose, that's what Thank you. Any other? I think we have one more group, breakout group.
I think that was ours. Were we number 5? I can't. I can't remember what number. What I know, I clicked so fast.
Was that the Mexican restaurant? Was it that?
No, because we haven't gone yet, and I think we were group number 5. I think
Okay.
that's the one. Okay. So and we didn't designate a spokesperson, so
You only had 2 minutes, so it's okay.
Okay. So basically we decided to do chocolate candies. We were thinking rather quickly. And pretty much basically that would be the service we provide, just different styles of chocolate candies. How will our business make money? Of course, it's very popular to have a food truck nowadays. I was thinking maybe like just a candy truck, something quick that's out there but specializes in chocolate candies. That's to start with, but of course we would work on expanding. And then also, how will the business operate? Of course, we'll be just selling samples out and about. We know everyone's pretty much in still due to the coronavirus and whatnot. But of course, we'd be trying to do stuff with less interaction, but basically having our display of chocolates starting off small. Then also competitors wise, I mean, all major chocolate companies, basically, Hershey's, even thinking about the variety style of chocolates that you see around Valentine's Day and things like that. So we were working on it. Just know that.
Good deal. That sounds good. So I think that was 5 groups. I think that was everyone, I believe, unless there's another group. Was there a 6th group? Okay, good. Y'all did a great job in 2.5 minutes. Again, my apologies. I'm still working this Zoom thing. I thought I set the timer for 7 minutes, but apparently I didn't. The reason I know that was a really quick way of doing this activity, and we will talk further next week as to discuss why these 4 facets are important. I wanted you to go through this activity because this is going to be the format of your midterm and a third of your final exam. So what I want you all to do when you all are creating your business plan, I'm not going to assign an extensive business plan that you have to have 30, 40 pages. I want to focus on 4 key principles. And the first, these are all the things that you all talked about in your group. The first principle is, what service does your business provide? How does your business make money on that? That's your second one. Your third one is, who's going to run your business? And then the fourth one are, who are the people in your realm who are competitors? So next week we're going to talk more about what I expect for your midterm, and I'll tell you your groups, like I said, either tonight or tomorrow. It'll probably be tomorrow, since we're running a little late. But expect interaction with a certain group of individuals. The next groups that I'll assign you, you will have that group for the remaining of the semester so that you all can meet with your group. Y'all's group can meet with me and as an individual conference, one-on-one conference, which we'll talk about more next Wednesday. Does anyone have any questions? Well, I want to ask you a couple things, because I think the textbook issue is very valid because of the bookstore not providing books. It's holding me back on quizzes and things that I want to do for you because it's just, I love y'all so much. So I'm going to look at either case studies or articles to read for you all to read. I'll probably assign them in Canvas, send them to you, and then I'll generate some quizzes to substitute those 6-point chapter summaries each week. So be on the lookout for that. But please complete your assignments virtually. All right. Does anyone have any questions?
Yes, Professor.
Yes.
About that.
Okay.
About the case studies, because I remember you had said last week that you were going to switch them to another due date since the whole textbook thing was going off. Could you give us like the due date for that, like the actual due date? You guys told us like next week or 2 weeks.
So yeah, that's a great question. And so my goal was to consolidate chapters 1 and 2 for them to be due this Friday. But I'm going to scratch that too because the textbook situation. What I'll probably do is instead of us having the assignments of those case studies, each chapter case study that's worth 6 points, I'm going to provide articles, things of that nature, and then possibly either have a quiz. I may break it up into 3 points for a review, and then I'll do you'll have to take a quiz for 3 points. But it's going to be something that's going to equate for 6 points each week. And
will that be just for for this beginning 2 weeks, or will that be for the whole semester now?
I don't know yet. It depends on when we can get this resolution with the bookstore.
Got you.
All right.
For the group project, is there a way that we're going to be communicating? Is that kind of going to be outlined in the email that you send out?
It'll be outlined more specifically next week in our lecture. I want to spend time to actually talk about it. I want to dedicate the class about 15 minutes to just talk about the presentation.
Okay. So the email is just to let us know what group we're going to be in, and that's it.
Exactly.
Okay. Awesome.
Great question. Are there any other questions?
Did you still want me to answer those questions you were talking about?
I do, Holly. I do. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought it up. And so we have, has there been anyone else who did not attend class last week who wants to do the orientation questions? All right. Well, Holly, give us your class. Oh, Melina, sweet. Melina, would you also, y'all answer me these couple questions. 1, give me your classification. 2, what's your passion? And 3, what would be a dream business you would like to create? We'll start with Holly.
Hey everybody. So I am a junior, and this is my first year at UNT Dallas. I haven't been in school in years, and so I do work full time and then go to school as well. My passion is, so I love to make money. That's what I'm about. I love making money. I love to find different ways to make money. I flip things. I'm really, really interested into real estate. I'm looking into, getting properties, things like that. I have my book right here. I love to read. Anything with money, I'm in that direction. Would be to basically just kind of own my own time. I don't have any kids or anything like that, but my mom, growing up, she worked like 3 jobs, and so I was involved in like basketball and all these different kind of sports, and so she wasn't able to really attend that. And so whenever I do have kids, whenever I do have a family, I just want to make sure that my dream would be to be able to be involved in their lives as much as possible, and not overbearing, but just as much as possible. And just to be able to own my own time. The business, I think you said what business do I want to make?
Yes.
The business that I would like to make, like I was speaking about real estate, it's more of the investing side of real estate. And then also, I'm working on digital products. And so selling digital products. I was actually going to ask you the question. I remember you said it was SME, and I think you said IME. And so I wanted to see what digital products, what that would fall under, but that, I know we're short on time, so that's fine.
Real quickly, that's a great question. An IDE technology company would be Apple.
Oh, okay.
But an SME could be, have you heard of the Raekwon earbuds that Ray J is promoting?
No, but I know what you're talking about.
So Ray J owns an earbud line. And so that's almost an SME but he actually transitioned that to an IDE as well, because once he started getting funding from Silicon Valley, and started getting so he can build a lot of product before selling. That's typically what that is.
If there's as far as a bit like a product that you're selling, but there's no cost of entry into it, with that, do you know what that will kind of fall underneath?
That's close to SME.
SME, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. SME, okay.
Because what you're doing, no, this is class. This is why we're here. You're pretty much, you don't need to use future funds to create a current product in an SME. So if you have a product or service, like you're a dry cleaners, somebody comes in, they have dirty clothes. The only thing that you really paid for was probably the equipment and the rent and stuff like that for this one shop. So it will take you a quicker turnaround to recoup that than it is to create a business where you have to create 1 million iPhones and pray that at the release date, 1 million are getting sold. And then you have to get profit from those millions, redesign the next one, and then set the date for the next year and have another. That's the intricacies of an IDE.
Okay.
Hmm?
Okay, cool.
Good
Thank you.
No
But
problem.
that is it. And so, and then also one more thing, I am looking to network with everyone in this class. I saw the rerun on the last one, and so anyone who wants to network with me, I'm here for that. So I'm really excited to get into it. So thanks, y'all.
Thanks, Holly. And also, please feel free. I will activate our discussion boards and announcements. If y'all have any questions for me that could be addressed to the whole group, ask it on the discussion board, and I'll answer it so that everyone can know. All right, next, Melina.
Hello, everyone. So I'm actually a junior. This would be my first year in my first semester being a UNT Dallas student. I graduated from TCC. My passion is crafting, baking, and just spending time with my kids. I have 2 little ones, so they keep me pretty busy. And then my business dream would probably be like being a builder of new homes and hiring friends and family to help me with that.
Nice. Thank you. Thanks for joining us, Jake. Thank you, Holly and Melina, for joining our class. And welcome to UNT Dallas, coming straight from Tarrant County College. Good people over there. All right. Those are some great crafting and baking. That's awesome. And building new homes and including your people that you love and care to be a part of that ecosystem is very important and big. So thank you for even having that vision to do that. Thank you all for joining class today. If y'all have any questions, please feel free to send me a message on either Canvas or emails. Be on the lookout for your group discussion, your group assignments. And then next week, we'll discuss our midterm and possibly have our first speaker. Hope everyone have a great day and enjoy the rest of this week. Have a good night.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.